Good morning. Welcome back to another week on Out of the Bubble. And today's guest is talking about something that I know all too well about. We're going to be talking about divorce. So Audrey Zeitoun is a transformation life coach, and she works with women who are struggling to reinvent their life and after breakups and divorce. And it was interesting. A listener has been in touch with me in the last couple of weeks and said how much she loved listening to the podcast. I really enjoyed the women's stories, but was divorce something that I really focused on because it seemed to be a common theme. That's not the case at all. I don't actually go out there and look for women that are going through this or have gone through this, but it does seem to be a time in midlife when divorce does happen, and following that there is this period of transition and reinvention that often leads to quite remarkable things, and women that have been on the show have kind of really changed their lives from that point. So I guess it's not a common theme, but it is a subject that's important to talk about because it's a fact of life, and there is a rise in middle-aged divorce in the country. So today we're going to be talking about how you can get past the real struggles after going through a divorce or a breakup. So good morning, Audrey. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good morning, Rachel. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
It's an absolute pleasure to connect. And another connection that I've actually made through Instagram, which is fabulous. It's brilliant for making all these connections with like-minded women. So for anybody that doesn't know about you, Audrey, how would you describe yourself?
All right. Well, I work with women who are struggling to recover from a breakup or a divorce. And I help them rediscover the joy of solo living, build their confidence, and have a heart open to finding true love. On a more personal note, I would say I am a very positive person, optimistic, and I'm a mom of two. And I always see the positive, even though I've been through hard times in the past, many hard times. But yes, I'm getting there. I'm moving on. So yeah, that's about me. Yeah.
I mean, you're a trained transformation coach, aren't you? But what made you specialise in particular in the breakup and divorce area?
Yes, I think it's related to my personal story. You know, when you've been through such a trauma, I think it's very hard to recover. At the time, I thought I'd never get through this. You know, I was shattered into pieces. I felt totally broken, and I had no more confidence. And it took me so long to recover. You know, I thought I'd never get there. You know, it's like you're on this narrow path and you're thinking, okay, this is not the way I planned my life, you know, when I started out. So when I qualified as a life coach, it's something I really want. You know, I thought about it and I thought, what can I do? Where can I make a big difference? You know, where can I make an impact? And thinking back, that's where I thought the most impact would be helping women who have been through divorce and breakup. I know it's so hard and it takes so long to recover on your own. I feel like I should have sought for help at the time, but I didn't. I didn't even know coaching existed. So that's what I'm trying to do now. Yes.
Amazing. But how old were you at the time when you did get divorced?
So it was just before I turned 40.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. It was my 40th birthday. And it is an age where I think it's actually on the increase, isn't it? That quite a lot of midlife women are finding themselves having to reinvent themselves and start again after divorce and breakups. And it seems to be quite a kind of an age that brings a huge amount of change for some reason.
Yes, so many of my friends are divorced. I'm thinking, how come, you know? I mean, at the time when I was younger, everybody was married and I was maybe one of the first to get divorced, you know, in my circle of friends. But in the end now I'm thinking, okay, I know half of my friends are divorced.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but at the time when I went through it, a lot of my friends, well, all my friends were really happily married at the time. And when you're in a circle of friends that you've been in with for years as partners, and then you're suddenly on your own, it's very difficult to be able to relate and talk about what you're going through because they're in this happy bubble and they don't actually understand it. So having a coach like yourself, that's somebody that can really understand and relate to what this woman's going through, is really important. Did you feel the same? Were you kind of feeling quite isolated at that time?
Yes, I mean, to be honest, I was very lonely. you know. I had to move in a flat with my kids, and I had no family, being French, living in London. I had no support network around me at all. And yeah, my friends were all married. You know, it was friends I made through school. You know, that's, you know, how you make friends still when you're adults. And we used to go out, you know, as a couple. We used to be invited, going to pubs, but nothing of that happened anymore. You know, I felt really outcast in a way.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, coaching. I mean, that's what we create this space for the person. You know, no one come to us and she has no one to turn to. And it's hard to always rely on your friends and your family. I mean, they've got their own problems, and also they don't give you sometimes the best advice, and they're trying to, but it's difficult. They haven't lived this, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like building that nurturing space, you know, for a woman coming to me is the most important thing to start with, and feel that she can just rest and, okay, you know, it's my space now. I can be myself and tell all about my problems and, you know, my fears.
So how did you get through it? How did you kind of begin this journey of self-discovery and rebuilding yourself back up? What worked for you?
Well, it took me a long time. So I divorced just before I turned 40, but I've only been coaching maybe, you know, 18 months or a couple of years, actually. It's very recent. And it's just this journey, you know. First you rebuild, you try to recover and get on with your life, you know, be confident again as a mother, but as a woman as well. I've been with my partner 14 years. So, you know, you just about, you know, feel, you know, attractive, you know, as well. It's so important, and have the confidence to date and just to think about this. It takes a long time. And I was never really happy in my job. You know, I did the job was perfect when you raised kids, and as a second salary, I felt it was perfect job. You know, I wanted to be with my children at the end of the day, and but now they're growing up. They're grown up, and okay, now they don't need me so much. You know, after school, they don't need me actually. So that's when I started to think, okay, it's time to think of me, you know, a bit more. And I explored on my options, and I hired a career coach actually to find out what would be suited for me, because I traveled a lot. I did lots of different jobs, but it's like you don't know your skills, you know, anymore. You don't know, well, okay, what are my strengths? And it's doing this work with her that really inspired me, and that's how I decided to train as a coach myself.
Brilliant. And I think, you know, I think it's so important that we do seek out these people that are coaches in their own specialist subjects, because they can offer, so it's just having that third eye, isn't it? That's particularly at a time when you are feeling lost yourself. It's having somebody else that can listen to what you've been through, listen to your story, listen to what you're capable of and what you've achieved, and kind of help you work your way through that. Because at a time when you're struggling to just keep afloat, it's really hard to think forward, isn't it?
Yes, you're totally confused, and often you only see you have one vision, you know, you have all this negative emotion overwhelming you, you think there's no way out, and you don't know where to start, you know, where to turn to, and the coach can help you calm down and, you know, open your vision, open your eyes to other ways, maybe to think and to handle also, you know, difficult situations and emotion, and transform them into something positive. So that you have the confidence to, okay, actually I can do this, you know, I can do it. So just baby steps, you know, it doesn't happen overnight, but it's amazing to see the transformation in some women, and how they, you know, come out of that, you know, that training, coaching, so transformed and hopeful, and just building hope and building confidence. Made them you know, achieve so much that they would think they would.
And how, looking back now with the journey that you've been through, what surprised you the most about yourself and what you've been able to achieve since?
It's a good question. I actually, you know, I'm coaching myself sometimes to think, actually, you're doing great, you know. It's something we tend not to do, women, to praise ourselves and to think, you know, we always think of others, and we don't actually think we are achieving a lot, today. And I'm thinking I overcome so many hurdles, living abroad for so long, raising children, being divorced, changing career. And finally, I was just thinking before the podcast, actually, I am exactly where I should be,
Yeah, I love that. I love hearing that. Yeah, I love hearing that. That's brilliant. What kind of age group have you noticed that is more kind of women over 40 that you coach, or is there a real mixture of ages?
I would say probably 35 to 50, yes. So yeah, around 40 plus, yes.
Yeah, because we were talking earlier before we went live, and our listener had sent me a really lovely message last week saying that she was really enjoying listening to the podcast and all these different women, but was divorced. Why were they all divorced? Was there a common theme, and was that my specialist subject? And I thought, well, no, it's not at all. It's not how I don't seek out divorced women that have made changes, but it does seem to be on the increase that more women in midlife over 40 are finding themselves, for whatever reason, getting divorced, doesn't it?
But sometimes, you're married young, you don't think much about yourself, or you don't know yourself, and then you keep on going, you have a job, you raise the kids, you're married, and all of a sudden maybe the kids are grown up, and you're thinking, okay, but this is not what I planned, and now maybe they've got time to think exactly what they want for the other half of their life. And that's how it starts. It's not so much about being divorced, and it's about what do I want now for myself? What's important to me, and how can I achieve it? And it could bring divorce. Yes, it could lead to divorce.
But it's actually quite an exciting time as well, because I know it's obviously a very sad and very difficult time, but I think just on the flip side of it, it is an opportunity, if the moment is right for you, to be able to reinvent yourself. And actually, like you've just said, you are exactly where you are meant to be right now. And it can be a really positive experience as well, can't it? It doesn't have to be a negative. Obviously it's a negative, but it doesn't have to all be about the negativity, does it? It can be an opportunity of rebirth, I suppose.
Yes. As a positive and optimistic person, definitely. But when you're right in the middle of it, you don't think that it can be positive. But as soon as you get out of this negative circle, I feel like you start to think, okay, now actually I can really sit down and think, what do I want, and start working towards it. Feel like you have the choice, whereas before you didn't maybe have the choice. You had to build a career, raise children. And this is definitely the flip coin, as you said, because the fear you have of the unknown, of loneliness, or the fear of failing, fears I experimented myself, and now I feel like actually now this fear is transformed into freedom. I'm free to do what I want. To be myself, be my true self. And
I guess once you get to that point as well, when you do want to have love back in your life again, you're in such a better position, because you know exactly who you are, you know what your boundaries are, what you'll accept and what you won't accept, and I suppose you're more open to finding the right match for you second time round again. It doesn't have to stop you.
Definitely goes in pair. Yes, I feel I didn't know myself when I married my husband, and I felt, okay, I was young, and I was naive, and I'm probably a late bloomer as well. But definitely now I know. I found someone only recently that I feel like we are a true match. We really are suited to each other, and it can happen, but it's only after you've done that work. I feel like it took me a long time to know myself. And as you mentioned, you know what to compromise and what not to compromise. What do you want? How do you want that couple to be? It's not about having children anymore. It's something else. And what do you want to put in that relationship?
Yeah, that's exciting. What's kind of the most common barriers that women really struggle to get past when they are going through this awful stage of breakup? What's the thing that really stops them from moving forward? Is it that? Because I know for me, it's hard not to reflect on the past all the time and to have that negative voice in your head going over and over and over everything and stopping that. But what is that a common theme?
I think the little voice is definitely very powerful when we get divorced. Thinking you can feel guilt, if you left your husband. Actually, I left my husband.
I did too.
We were so different. I feel like something had to be done, someone had to do something. And he's much happier now. He's also met someone, he has a young child. And, we don't have to hurt each other, and the kids can understand as well, they can understand that love can be different, and life can be different than a married couple and children. So that this little voice in your head, I would say, try maybe to change it to, okay, it's I feel guilt or I feel anger. Your husband could have been betraying you or, abusing you, and that is very traumatic. Can feel anger, broken and sad and mixed feelings. But at the end, that this voice is only temporary. You've been happy in the past. You've overcome really hard situations. I'm sure that as women, we have overcome difficulty. And if you apply what happened then, what strengths did I use? What skill did I use? And can I apply just a little bit every day of that strengths, so that I overcome this negative voice and negative feeling?
Was there a kind of light bulb moment for you when you were going through this journey where you thought, actually, I've woken up this morning and I'm feeling all right? Because it is the most, it's hard to wake up in the morning when you're going through this. But I think there does come a time, isn't there, when I know there was for me, and it was actually through travel for me, that I actually volunteered in Uganda and worked in an orphanage. And I was terrified, absolutely terrified of doing it. But I got on the plane and I thought, actually, this is really exciting, and this is something I'm doing on my own. And I felt so much more confident. And at that point, I thought, actually, I am going to be all right. But it took me a couple of years to get to that point. Was there a moment like that for you?
Yes, I didn't travel that far, but what I did was push myself to get out of my comfort zone.
Yes. Yeah.
I challenged myself, for example, going out, learning how to dance, going to dance classes, and did all sorts of things, on the weekend, because it used to be so lonely on the weekend, when you don't have the children, they're with their dad, your friends are with their family, and you're thinking, okay. I remember meeting a friend down the street, and she was like, tell me, Audrey, you're not just going to Waitrose, are you? And I was like, no, of course, no. But
yes.
Yeah, actually, I am.
Yeah.
So it's just, so now I felt like, okay, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going out, I'm getting out there, and anything just to meet new people and meet women who are also single. And that's how I met actually wonderful women who were, single. And then we met the next weekend. We had coffee together, a drink together. And that's how I started. I was thinking, okay, I can rebuild something there. I can have new friendship. And
because it is terrifying. It's like having to, it is that rebuilding of yourself, isn't it? And it's almost, I felt like I'd almost reverted to being back to 16 years old, because that's when I first met my husband. So I was with him from 16 to 39 So it was a long time. So I did really feel like I completely had to start again and work out what I liked, who I was, what I didn't like. And it's quite scary, isn't it?
Very scary. Yes, just being out there and talk about yourself, alone, and having to do the first step, and reach out to people. Yes, that's very difficult.
Sorry, Audrey, just bear with me 1 second. Sorry, my phone rang. I did turn it off, but it's come back on again there. I turned it off again. Sorry, I had got it on silent.
Don't worry.
I'll edit that bit out. So if somebody is sat at home listening to this and they're in a really dark place, how can women take that first step to even reach out to somebody like yourself? And what could you say that would encourage them to seek help? Because it is difficult. It's a difficult conversation, and I still think there is a stigma attached to divorce. I think people aren't very comfortable about talking about it in society. It's almost kind of, I certainly felt like I was uncomfortable talking about it to other people. So what advice would you give them to making those first steps?
Well, yes, we don't know that we can get help. When you divorce, you think it's everybody goes through this, or many people, and I just have to get on with it and, pluck my courage and just get on. But it's actually, I find it's not the way to do it, because that way you're not rebuilding yourself as a person, and you are just keep going, and for the kids and the work, and you come home exhausted. And then the last thing you think of is taking care of yourself. The last thing you want to do is take care of yourself. I found that when they come to me, it's important to know that maybe a door closes behind you, but another one opens.
Yeah.
And that's so important to think that, and to be that frame of mind, and think that there are people, we are here to nurture, you, and help you, all along the way. And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be forever. And it's just for them making that step, and seek out for help, a coach or whoever they think would be suited for them. It really helps,
Yeah. Have you found, obviously, because you have found your confidence through what you've been through, and then through the coaching, and obviously you see women that have really transformed, I would imagine, over the course of the time with you. Has that really encouraged you even more to step out of your comfort zone and be braver and do different things?
Yes, I learn every day from my clients. I think they feed me. They've got all the strengths that I have. They've got a rich life, and even though they're not aware of it to start with, but they are rich and so brave as well. And I feel like when I feel down, or when I feel, oh, I can't do this, or I'm thinking, come on, this is not, you can do this, and I challenge myself even in my work every day, trying to do different things in my business or in my personal life. I'm maybe going to do, a workshop or webinar or all this stuff I'm trying to do at the moment, which is very out of my comfort zone, because, I can be a bit shy, talking in public. And it's about, it feels so good when you manage to do it, isn't it? It's like, yes, what's next? I want to do more.
Exactly. And it's getting over that fear, isn't it? It's taking that jump of that leap of faith and taking that step over. Because once you've done it, you enjoy it, and then think, actually, I want to do something else, and I want to do more. But how do you take that step? How do you encourage women that are really stuck in that place where they want to do something, but the fear and their lack of confidence, because it's been not so much, really holds them back? And what would you say to somebody that really needs to take that leap?
Yes. Well, I would say you don't have to take a big leap. First of all, and don't we're not going to jump mountains straight away, or and I try to find, we discuss about the realistic goals, so that they don't feel overwhelmed. Something, you can start little, just by, taking care of yourself, even in self-care, dressing, putting a nice outfit on and going out, putting some makeup on. I feel sometimes it helps to rebuild confidence. It doesn't have to be much, we're not going to push someone too far, First, it's little baby steps, and thinking about yourself in terms of nurturing yourself and having empathy for yourself. Just little baby steps we go through, and we understand why the woman is not feeling so confident. What's behind it, and were there moments where you felt really confident, and what happened then? How did you react, and what did you do? And we're trying to project this onto new habits and build new habits for her.
It's about resetting the mind, isn't it, after a long time of being in a partnership with somebody? It's about resetting it and going solo.
Yes, exactly that. Yes, resetting the mind. And we are so, used to a way to do things. And now, have to shift, and it's about changing this mindset, changing the way you see, the next step and the challenges. And they're teaching them, and they learn, very quickly, now. I was doing this in the past, but is it serving me now? You know, is it really serving me? What am I getting from this? You know?
Yeah.
And maybe it's a small satisfaction, you know, very quick satisfaction. But do we want that, or do we think of, you know, in 6 months or a year, 2 years, how do you want your life to be? You know, how do you want your life to look like? And then we start by baby steps to bring the person to their goal, to their life, you know,
Yeah.
their vision, you know. So it's
I
important.
wish I'd met you 10 years ago, Audrey. I wish I could have worked with you 10 years ago. It would have saved me lots of mistakes and heartache. You do have to see the humour in it, because it is obviously such a serious subject and it is really painful, but you do have to almost see the funny side of life sometimes as well, don't you, to get through it, because it's not an easy time. So I don't make light of it at all, but there has been times when it was quite amusing when I look back.
Yes, definitely amusing, especially when I first dated, or, you know, but I try to put joy in my life and thinking, okay, you know, it's just about bringing joy back in your life.
Yeah.
How can I do this? You know, even 2 minutes a day, you know, even, you know, that's all. And you think, how can I do this? What steps can I take now to achieve this?
Because you're right, the dating side, let's talk about the dating side, because that is really scary. And if somebody's been in a relationship or a marriage for a long time, to then start, because so much has changed as well, the way people date and the way people communicate, that's a really scary.
Very scary.
Fun, but also quite intimidating, really, isn't it? So what advice would you give to women if they are at a point where they're thinking they might even think, because it takes a long time to even get to the point where you think you might be okay to even meet somebody for a coffee?
I'd say just, you know, enjoy yourself. You know, it's not about your next husband, is it? It's just about going out for a coffee and feeling pretty and feeling that someone appreciates you and your conversation. It is that, you know, you know, you meet someone, you don't like him, so what? You know, it's okay. You just go home and, you know, go on with your life.
Yeah.
So I tried to do this. I did dating, and but honestly, even though I didn't meet anyone, it built my confidence back as a woman. I felt like, okay, you know, I'm still attractive. You know, I still, you know, and isn't it important?
Yeah.
You know, to feel this as a woman, to feel you're still attractive, and, you know, some men are, you know, find you seducing,
Yeah, I think it's important, and I think actually that's something that particularly older women in society, they're almost not allowed to express their sexuality and their feminine side, because it's kind of like we're almost past it in society's mind, which is not the case at all. So to be able to go out and have a date and made to feel really comfortable about themselves and make themselves feel good and sensual, I think is really such an important thing, isn't it?
Yes, I feel when you reach midlife, there's this word that comes up a lot, and it's being invisible, you know, and this is so true, isn't it? And you start thinking, oh, well, why would I address, or why would I make an effort now anyway? I'm going on 50. And actually making that effort, you know, you are 50, so what? You know, just you want to look good, you know, you want to feel good, you know, for yourself. And we are not invisible. I think, you know, women now are very powerful. And I feel like compared to 10 years ago, we have such a chance now to rebuild our life the way we want. We have so much more opportunities, and even to be self-employed. How many women now are doing their own things compared to 10 years ago or more?
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of powerful, we have a lot of power now. And
I think there's a real movement. I think there's a real movement now in older women over 50 that are really doing amazing things and pushing the boundaries, which is fantastic.
I mean, look at what you're doing. I mean, it's just exactly living proof, isn't it?
Thank you. What's the best piece of advice you were given?
I would say never give up, you know. I tend to, you know, I moved countries. I looked for work, you know, everywhere in the world. And I had a lot of no for answer, but I'm thinking something I would say, if you don't collect the no's, you know, you're never going to get a yes, are you?
Yeah, that's true.
And it's something I always remind myself is, come on, you go and collect your nose. Come on, just
I
go.
like that. Yeah.
And one yes will come, eventually.
Yeah. It's about not being scared of the nose, isn't it?
Yes.
Just keep collecting them. I love that. And now women, my last question, the women are really bad at accepting compliments about themselves. And it's something that I ask all my guests now. If you could give yourself a compliment, what would it be, Audrey?
Oh my goodness, that's
It's hard. It really stumps everybody.
Let's say I'm very joyful. I think inspire personal. I think I inspire, yes, joy and positiveness. That's what people say.
Well, it's been a joy to talk to you this morning. It's been lovely. How can people find you?
So I've got a website. It's audreyzeitoun.com. They can reach me on my website, book a discovery call. I do rediscovery call, or I have lots of free tools as well they can download.
Yes.
On my website, articles and different little exercises they can do, especially on the start of their journey. And also they can contact me by email on the website.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for sharing what you're doing and your story. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Well, I'm so glad I talked to Audrey today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope if you are going through a divorce or a breakup that you manage to gain a little bit of strength from listening to that, and that you are not alone. And if you do need some help, then please reach out, because there are so many women like Audrey out there that are doing amazing work to help and support women, and you just need to take that step and reach out and get in touch with somebody, because I do know from my own experience that it's not often found in friends and family. Sometimes you need to speak to somebody outside of your circle. So please go take a look at Audrey if it's somebody that you might feel like you need to benefit from working from. I will be back next week. I have recently started my Patreon site, so if you are enjoying listening to the podcast as much as I am producing them, it's a real passion project of mine. I love being able to share all these amazing women's stories with you all, and I think being able to use this platform to get people's voices out there in midlife is such a great opportunity. But I do it all for free, and I love doing it. So any support I gain would be amazing to help me reach more women through the podcast and grow even further. And I am now doing the weekly. They're no longer a series, so there will be every single week of the year, which is exciting and challenging all at the same time. So if you would like to join as a patron of Out of the Bubble podcast on less than the price of a coffee a month, then please go take a look at the site. All the links are on the page after this. So I will be eternally grateful. Don't forget to subscribe to Out of the Bubble podcast.com. I will be back next week, but in the meantime, keep being fabulous.